Hey guys, welcome to Super61. Today we're going to be talking about the G29 mod from MVH Studios. Now this is something I've been posting videos of on the channel for a month or so now. I've had the wheel, or the modification to the wheel installed for about 7 weeks. I've had a good chance to use it. I've posted some gameplay videos, a couple of little kind of close-up videos of it, just kind of showing the setup. And I've had a lot of comments on Facebook, Reddit, in the YouTube comments asking a bit more about it, my thoughts on it, a bit of a review on it. So today I thought I'd take the chance to kind of talk a bit more about it now that I've probably put about 150 hours into its use, mainly playing F1 2019 and Assetto Corsa Competizione on PC. Now, to kind of caveat this video from the start, I'm by no means a sim expert or sim kind of experienced player. I've been sim racing for probably about a year, but then using a bit more of a kind of serious setup, if you like, for the last 4 or 5 months. For a long time I had the G25 wheel, had that for about 4 years before getting the G29. The reason I got the G29 originally was because I was playing a little bit on PlayStation and a little bit on PC. I wanted a wheel that could do both. Now I just play on PC at the moment, but yeah, to caveat, I haven't had any experience using any other brand wheel. I've never used a direct drive wheel. I've never used a Fanatec or a Thrustmaster, so I can't compare to that. All I can do today really is give you a review of this and what you get for your money. Now, the main question a lot of people ask is why bother spending money modifying a G29? Because at the end of the day, it's only a G29. I know it's a budget wheel. They are good for their money. I really, I like it. I've got no complaints about how the wheel works. I know the kind of gear system compared to a belt fed system feels a bit grindy and all that kind of stuff. But overall, the G29 as a package, I have no complaints with. It works great with the PC. My only complaint actually at all is the Logitech software. I have a lot of issues with it kicking out with the pedals. I have to reinstall the software now and again. It does some strange stuff, but that's aside the point. So I got this modification, as I said, from MVH Studios. I bought it from his Etsy store back in March. Now, it was just before lockdown, just before this whole sim racing kind of boom took off, which I know has had a big effect on his online store and his orders. I think back then he said he was taking like 100 orders a month. Now he's taking like 1,000 orders a month, according to his YouTube channel. So yeah, his products have really gone through the roof. I ordered it at the end of March. I think it was the 26th of March, and this arrived on the 28th of April. So it took just over a month to arrive. And again, that was because even then he had quite a few products to fulfill, quite a few orders to fulfill. This was actually printed at one of his printers in Greece, which he then had shipped to the UK. He put it together and then shipped it to me. So yeah, it took a month door to door, which was a little bit longer than I expected, but Mark, who runs the shop, he's really good at communicating. I knew what was going on and where the product was at all stages. So in the end, I wasn't disappointed with the whole kind of transaction. Now the other thing is the price. Again, a lot of people saying, what's the point in modifying one of these? Rather than, I got a lot of comments saying, well, why modify this and not just buy a Fanatec wheel or buy something else? Well, it is down to the cost, and that is the kind of the main point about this wheel. This modification can cost as little as £45 if you get the base version. This cost me, I think with all the bits, I'll go through them now, I think it cost me 80, 85. So the standard wheel, this is the F1 type. He does a GT type as well. I went for the F1 type, and you could choose between having plastic grips or Alcantara grips. I went for the Alcantara, but then I've also got the magnet modification behind the paddles, which I'll go into in a little bit. And I also ordered the center cap hub, because you can just use the PlayStation one that comes on it, or the G29 one that comes on it. I ordered this one and asked for it to have the Red Bull logo on, which you also put the stickers on, and the Aston Martin ones in here at no extra cost. It didn't cost me anything extra for these, or this logo. It just cost me the £5 extra for this hub. So in total, yeah, it cost me about £80 with all the extras, the hub and the Alcantara. So for £80, you really aren't going to get, you're not going to be able to upgrade to a Fanatec or a Thrustmaster or any other kind of belt-fed wheel. So the comment about why not just buy another wheel, is completely nonsensical, because unless you can suddenly give me a Fanatec for 80 quid, it's not going to happen. And it mainly is just aesthetics, let's be honest. It just looks more like an F1 wheel. It looks cool. You know, I've got the stickers on here, some of which are accurate, some of which are just to look the part. It doesn't probably have any effect. I've seen some comments being, oh, this took a second off my lap time. Let's be honest, that's probably not the case. It's dimensionally, it is the same. I don't have the original wheel to hand right now, but dimensionally, it's pretty much the same size. It's not any wider. Otherwise, obviously, if it gets any wider, you're going to start to have problems with reaching the reaching your paddles. Not that there is probably a bit of space to make it a bit bigger if needs be, but it is about the same dimensions as the original wheel. Now, the way it's built, of course, it is 3D printed. This is all 3D printed. Everything on here, apart from the bolts and the Alcantara, is 3D printed. And stability-wise, it's actually better than I thought. I thought a whole 3D printed piece of plastic, essentially. I don't know how strong it's going to be. It is, you know, it's sturdy. Now, it's not as sturdy as a piece of sheet metal or, you know, something else, or like a complete one-piece steering wheel. You know, there is a little bit of flex in it. Look, you know, if I go quiet, you can hear there's a little bit of flex and stuff, but that's me, you know, whenever you're never going to be doing this on the track. Whenever I'm using it, I find when I'm racing and I'm really concentrating, I hardly hold the wheel at all. I go from holding it like this, I end up holding it, you know, with like my thumbs and my, you know, hardly touching the wheel at all. And I've heard a lot of other players say the same, that, you know, when they're really in the zone, you're hardly touching a wheel. So the kind of rigidity of it is not an issue at all for me. It's very well made. It is sturdy. The grips are very, very comfortable. As I said, I went for the Alcantara, so I wear gloves. When I race, I wear karting gloves and karting boots that I wear for karting. Originally, it was for kind of familiarity, for a bit of practice. Now I just can't do it without the boot. The boots are nice and comfy, and the gloves save the Alcantara from getting all sweaty and horrible. So when I do use this, I do always have gloves and boots on. You can buy a little Alcantara brush, which I have, like a suede brush to keep the suede and the Alcantara looking nice. So as well as that, you've got these 3D printed buttons which replace your L1 and R2 buttons, and they work great. He actually gives you some extras of those. You get different colours. When you order it, you can select colours. I just said I'd like a range, so he just gave me a few different colours. You've got yellow, blue, red, green, and a few of the ones in there to switch around, or if they break somehow. But these buttons are very well made. I can't see how they're going to break, you know. As long as you treat your wheel with the respect that it should be, you know, you're not smashing it and banging it. I can't see any reason why this would stop working on you. The process of putting it together was very, very simple. Mark does upload a video on his channel, which I just opened it up on my laptop and followed it step by step. I'm in no way tech savvy. Like, the idea of taking this apart and getting all the wiring out at first did scare me a little bit, but when I watched the video, I realised it's just a couple of screws and a couple of Allen keys. It's you know, it was no problem. It took me about 15 minutes to take it apart and get it back together again, and I've had no problems since. So it's, you know, structure-wise, or construction-wise, should I say, it's very, very easy to do. So as well as that, as I did mention, whilst I ordered it, I also ordered the magnetic shifter behind the back, which is essentially just magnets behind the metal paddle plates, which make them a lot more, rather than having just that kind of little clickiness that you had originally, there's a lot more tactile movement to them now. They flick back into place. What I will say is, they're very, very loud at first because it's metal on metal, and you know, it sounds like a nail gun going off. So what I have done, and I've read other people have done, is I put a slight bit of sticky back felt just on the magnet. So now it doesn't affect the strength of the magnet, but it just takes away that metal on metal clanking noise, because that little bit of velvet kind of cushions it. So still louder than it was, but it you know, feels really good, and it you know, that is a great modification. That does make you know, a real difference. So aside from that, like I said, I've been using it now for 7 weeks, and I've had no issues with it at all. It is a great piece of kit. I do think with the way Mark's going now, that he's got his own website, and I think he's taking a lot more orders, your order time, I think, is going up. I think he's got a waiting list now, so I think if you are thinking of ordering one, you could be waiting upwards of you know, a month and a half, 2 months even, but you know, you have to check on his website and keep up to date. I think at the moment it's just a waiting list. He's planning on getting through that before he moves on and takes on new orders. But if you already have a G29, a G27, a G920, any of these wheels, this is definitely something I would recommend. You kind of dominated the market with it at the moment, because I know there are other people who do kind of modifications like this, but you know, Marker's kind of really taken over with it in terms of how well he can do them and how easily they are to get hold of. I see all these other mods I see online, but actually finding someone who's actually printing them, it seems really difficult. So I do recommend this if you already have this wheel. I personally will be upgrading to I plan on getting the CSL Elite, the Fanatec wheel at some point, just to go to a belt-driven one. I don't think I'll ever get a direct drive. I've just not got the setup for it. I know it wouldn't. Definitely on this setup it wouldn't work, but I do plan on getting a more permanent rig in the future. But for now, probably for the next year or so, this definitely does the trick. It looks the part. I think, you know, I really like the way he has it wrapped with the carbon fibre and the decals that he does with it all, and it works really well. It's comfortable, and it is a reliable and great piece of kit for the money. That's the thing it all comes back to here. This cost less than £100, so if it's something you're considering, I would highly recommend it. Go ahead and do it. Just be prepared to wait a little while for it to come through, but once you get hold of it, it is definitely worth it. So I hope that's answered some of your questions. If you have anything else you'd like to know, leave it down in the comments below and I'll try and answer it. And thank you for watching.